Hello, my name is Veronica, and this is my Girl Scout Gold Award on We Are Responsible. As the Lorax once said, unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing is going to get better. It's not. Let's all join the green side to raise our voice and not the sea level, and to remember that there is no planet B.
Nature is the world's classroom. The ancient philosophers, scientists, artists, musicians, etc., all gather their knowledge from this bounty that surrounds us. Before we imprison ourselves between the walls, humans walked amongst the wonders of the world. We lack this great inspiration as pointed out in Richard Louve's Last Child in the Wood book, as well as his other book, Vitamin N, which go out and enjoy the richness around you. See the vibrant colors, smell the flower fragrance, hear the music of the birds and the insects, feel the sun radiate warmth upon your skin. Explore your local state national parks. Get out and walk among the other species. Get your hands dirty and enrich your life. So this is Last Child in the Woods by Richard Louve. It's one of the greatest environmental books, and the introduction is actually a really good start because it's basically this younger kid talking to his dad, and he says, "Dad, how come it was more fun when you were a kid?" And he goes, I asked what he meant. Well, you're always talking about your woods and tree houses and how you used to ride that horse down near the swamp. At first I thought he was irritated with me. I had in fact been telling him that it was like to use string and pieces of liver to catch crawdads in a creek, something I'd be hard-pressed to find a child doing these days. Like many parents, I do tend to romanticize my own childhood, and I fear too readily discount my children's experiences of play and adventure. But my son was serious. He felt he had missed out on something important. He was right. Americans around my age, baby boomers or older, enjoyed a kind of free, natural play that seems, in the era of kid pagers, instant messaging, and Nintendo, like a quaint artifact. Within the space of a few decades, the way children understand and experience nature has been changed radically. The polarity of the relationship has reversed. Today, kids are aware of the global threats to the environment, but their physical contact, their intimacy with nature, is fading. That's exactly the opposite of how it was when I was a child. And this book is actually really good. I recommend that you buy it or read it. He also, in the back that I found pretty cool, is 100 ways that we can take action. And some of them is like take a hike. With younger children, choose easier, shorter routes and prepare to stop often, or be a stroller explorer. As in, like, bring a stroller in case they get tired of walking, because they most likely will. Make the green hour a new family tradition. They recommends giving their kids something called NWF recommends that parents give their kids a daily green hour at a time for unstructured play and interaction with the natural home in the center. Draw ever-widening circles around it, each representing a successfully older child's realm of experience. NWF suggests, whenever possible, encourage some independent exploration as your child develops new skills and greater confidence. You can also collect stones. Even the youngest of children love gathering stones, shells, and rocks. And there's many other ways. There's also suggestions for how to transform our community. And some of them are like, know your neighbors, invest in the life of the block and the surrounding community, create a play watch group, and ask fellow parents to sit on front stoops or porches several hours a week, available at a distance as children play. Such parent groups can take children on trips to local or regional parks as well. There's also reinvent the vacant lot. Developers often leave set-aside land slices of property not large enough to be playing fields, not located conveniently to be pocket parks, but that can be served well as an island of wildness. These and other urban and suburban plots can be transformed into adventure playgrounds or wild zones. You can look up what wild zones are online. It's really interesting. There's also goals for government, how to build a movement, etc. There's ways to discuss this book and much more. I recommend buying it or renting it or getting it at a library. Take the time and the initiative to go on a nature trail. I'm quite thankful because my town has a creek that runs throughout. Along it is a trail which has informational signs about the flora and fauna that lives and habitats the surrounding area. The trail also has walking bridges which enable you to walk over the creek and see the ducks, the beavers, etc. There are also benches along the creek that enable you to sit down and enjoy the beautiful sights around you. In some spots, there are also picnic tables with benches, which enable you to take your friend or your loved ones and you can all hang out and talk, you can eat together, have parties, etc. If you are not sure of how to envelop yourself into nature, try picking up a new hobby. You can go bird watching, plant watching, animal watching, etc. Make it a fun activity to pick a certain animal, plant, etc. that you would like and research and then try and find it in your community. I also highly encourage you to go to any national parks or even state parks that you happen to live nearby. They teach you in abundance about the history of that area, what is there, etc. Our national parks vary from Yellowstone, which is the first national park and is also over an active volcano, to Olympic Park, which is the only rainforest in our beloved country. There's also other fun parks such as Four Corners and Grand Canyon. National and state parks enable you to dive into the history of our beautiful country as well as the flora and fauna that lives on its lands. You never know what you can learn, but I guarantee you that you will learn something new at each one. If you are interested, try researching on the internet to see which ones are near you, or plan a trip to see ones that are farther away. As I have said before in a previous video, my brother in his elementary years, when they were learning geometry, had a project in which they had to go outside and find geometric shapes throughout the town, and she as in the teacher, made it into this fun treasure hunt / bingo game. This is a great way of implementing math into the outdoors because it is getting the kids to realize things such as geometric shapes in reality instead of depending on their textbooks or YouTube videos to teach them. It also gets their brain furtherly enhanced and intrigued to participate in the activity, as they have to use both their logistics and their creative cognitive functions to find all of the shapes on the list. There are a multitude of ways to implement nature into your life. You can also take the time as well as the initiative to do your homework outside, as I've said before. The fresh air is very beneficial to your mind and body. Also having fresh air can make you feel more calm and collected. You can also sit outside and sketch or paint what you see. You can read outside and listen to the sounds of nature encase you in its beauty and tranquility. You can find real-world examples of what is in your homework, such as math, science, physics, etc., by trying to find the objects throughout the area you live in. You can write poems and short stories about what you see and what you hear and what you smell and even what you feel. You can document the habits of the local fauna. You can draw the pretty flowers that are springing out of the ground. There are so many ways that you can become intertwined with nature. You just have to keep your mind open and your soul curious. So with the change of location, I had to move in because it became dark. Basically, we should become entwined again with nature because that's our human primitive ways, and that's basically how the human race has survived for centuries and centuries before. It's not it's not likely that, or it's not normal that humans have these type of houses are always inside. They're always on computers with artificial lights, and really harsh lights actually can strain your eyes, and they're not always on these like TVs and phones and video games and electronic books, computers, everything. It's not the normal way. It's not what we're used to. So it's actually destroying us more than helping us. But we may think that, oh, it's technological advanced and we're improving in society, we're becoming more modernized. It is destroying us and erasing who we actually are, what a race actually is. As I said before, a way that my community has implemented nature into our everyday is that the overall structure of my city is that everything's meant to be in walking distance. So all the schools are close. There's a grocery store. There are parks. There's sidewalks everywhere, so that we can walk wherever. Everything's safe. Everything's there. There's also a creek that runs through the middle of my town. And with the creek, there's a trail. Part of the trail's cement, the rest is dirt. And it's for biking, walking, scooters, etc. Basically, that you can also, you can do everything from walking to running to jogging to
riding your bike to walking your pet, walking with your family, etc., while looking at the beautiful scenery of our town. They also put in these signs up around the trail that are telling about the area, about the water, about the structure of everything, the flora and the fauna that visits, etc. Also, a way to implement nature would be you could have your community create a garden, like a community garden, and have everyone help in and pitch in. And you could plant trees, you could do edibles so that when they're all grown, you'd be able to come back and eat the stuff, have picnics, have festivals. You could also have community environmental days, such as like a cleanup. I know being my high school's environmental club founder and president, we do an annual Earth Day cleanup where we first clean up the quad, which is like the center of the high school, and then we walk to Central Park and we clean up the park there as well. And we're also branching this out to this year, in which we're going to add more people. We're going to work with another organization and make it bigger and have a bigger celebration than what we have been doing. Also, when I used to live in Washington, my school took our trip to Olympic National Park, which is the only rainforest in our country. And while we were there, they basically we went to the beach one day and they taught us how to like clean up the beach and then to leave beach art so that other people could enjoy the beauty that we've seen and to keep it nice. And I got inspired by that, and so this year I'm going to incorporate a trip to San Francisco with with the environmental club that I started, along with the creative drawing club of our school. And we're all going to go clean up San Francisco, the beach, and pick up all the litter, and then leave beach art to try and spark a cleaning revolution, an environmental revolution, and get more people wanting to help, more people picking up, more people getting involved. My club also inspired by when I went to WISE, which is Washington Youth Summit on the Environment in Washington, D.C., as my area's delegate. The one of the last days we got to talk to our Congress people, and I talked to both Senator Harris and Feinstein, and I got inspired by that, and I'm going to work with another club at our school, which is GSA, and we plan on writing letters about environmental issues as well as minority issues and send them off to a bunch of Congress people all around and try and see if we can make any change.
Diving into nature is a breeze when you take the time and the initiative to do so. Put the love that our planet gives to us right back in and join the green side. Thank you for watching. Please give my video a thumbs up and subscribe below.